Hello, and welcome to the East Africa Business Podcast. I'm Sam Floy, and I'm here on the continent to learn about the emerging business scene. I'll be interviewing startups, investors, and organisations who are all playing their part in helping the region develop and grow. And in doing this podcast, I'll be sharing with you the things that I learn along the way. In this episode, I speak with Justus, who is MD of one of Rwanda's largest solar companies, BBOXX, providing clean energy to those at the bottom of the pyramid. We discuss the evolution of the sector, adapting customers' mindsets from ownership to service, and the outlook for off-grid energy. Okay then, let's go. Justus, hello and welcome to the show.
Thank you very much, Sam.
Cool. So could you start off by giving us a quick bit of background about BBOXX and a bit about you?
Yeah, thank you very much. I'll start with myself. I'm managing director for BBOXX. Basically, I take in Rwanda, so I manage all the operations in Rwanda. And a little bit about BBOXX. BBOXX is a company originally from the UK. We design, manufacture, and distribute solar home systems to the markets, especially off-grid. So in Rwanda, we've started our operations with that same model, distribution with our own retail shops about 2.5 years ago, and we've reached over 10,000 customers so far.
Got it. Okay, so you're, just to clarify, so you are selling sort of solar energy to customers in Rwanda, all over. Is it all over the country, or is it just in a few regions?
At the moment, we are all over the country since 2 months ago. We started in the north, and in June this year, we managed to expand and have 10 more outlets open at the same time, and it's got us almost everywhere, every province of the country. We'd like to open more to be as closest to the customers as possible. But even now, we are accessible, but we wanted to make it easier for the customers that need our services.
So how long have you been operating in Rwanda?
So we started operations in Rwanda with the start of 2014. And ever since then, we've been building operations and trying to grow the team. And we are in position now to do what took us 2 years now. We are in position to be able to do it in 1 or 2 months. And that's how much we have come.
Oh, great. So, is it that in Rwanda are there lots of options for people who want to get electricity, or are you kind of like the main way that people can get it?
Yeah. The rural electrification is such a big concern, not only in Rwanda but even in other countries, and BBOXX comes in to fill that gap by providing affordable ways such as the solar solutions. We don't just provide the solar system, but we go as far as providing appliances that people need. It's more what people want now, and not just having a solar panel on their roof, but it's more about the lifestyle of people. They want to light, they want their kids to do homework, they want to watch football games, they want to watch news, So we go as far as providing all those appliances that they need, which include TVs, radio, some flash torches, and we are looking at coming up with more, going to shavers, smartphones. So there's more we can provide once we get that home lit, and there's a lot we can provide to people. So we are not the only ones. There's a number of players in the market, and there's also the main grid. But the most interesting thing is that the government has started to realize that this is not just a mid-term solution, but actually a real solution that can be sustainable over the long term. Yeah.
I see. So you're only targeting people who are off-grid. Like roughly what percentage of the country is on-grid and off-grid?
Yeah. So at the moment we are targeting mainly off-grid. We just want to keep this focus because that's where the biggest problem is. The percentage on grid now is 20%, so 80% out there is still a whole market out there for the different players to play in. So that is our main focus right now. We know that in the future we could have different solutions for different people, but what is even most interesting is some of our customers are not really far from the grid. The grid is just a few meters above them, but it's very hard, expensive to connect. And it doesn't really mean that if there's a pole just next to your house that you're connected to the grid. So we have very, very many customers that are interestingly not far from the grid, but that are customers that we are targeting.
So just to clarify, so it is the government who provides the on-grid electricity? Yeah?
Yes.
And are they doing anything at all in the off-grid solutions?
So the government is launching a campaign starting very soon this month or next month on off-grid electrification. And what they are doing is more to sensitize the people to go for off-grid solutions such as what BBOXX is offering. And that's as much as they can go at the moment. And it's for the private players like us to give those solutions to the people. And that's what they're doing basically. So they're in support of what we are doing, but we have to do it.
Yeah, I understand. So what are the, so imagine I'm a customer. How do you sell your service to me?
Yeah. Like I mentioned, if I take an example of Rwanda, we have 20 retail shops over different districts across the country. And at every shop, we have a minimum of 5 permanent staff. And on top of that, we have a sales team of 10 sales agents that we pay on commission attached to every shop. So we have presence in the areas where we operate, and we meet people on market days. They come to our shops. Our agents move around to see people. But also, even more interestingly, we have a customer service center and a toll-free line where a customer who just hears about us on radio or meets someone can just call this line and sign up on phone. And next thing they know, we are coming to install at their house. So we've simplified our sign up as easy as possible, that we might not even meet you until the day we turn up to your house to install for your system. Yeah.
All right. So you then I've heard you on the radio. I've called you up, and then I said, right, I'd like to have a BBOXX at my house. So what then? Like, how long does it take to install? Or?
Yeah. Our agent will collect as much information as possible from you that we need on the day that you call.
What sort of information do you need?
This information includes your address, what you do, and your full address, where is your home, and what kind of system or what kind of package you need, because we offer in different. Some need a few lights, some need more lights, some need with these appliances or that appliances. So our agent will explain to you the options, the different options, and what it might cost you. Because most of our customers pay on a monthly, and they have to tell you about certain things such as mobile money, because it's the means of payment that you use to pay us. That's why I was saying you might do this without actually meeting us. After understanding and passing all the criteria, you make a payment, and our shop will see it in the customer system that they have, that this customer in my area needs to be installed. And ideally, we intend to be able to install for this customer within 3 days after they have signed up.
Oh. Yeah. Okay, so there is the upfront installation, and then after that, you say people pay on a month by month.
Yeah. So our model is we try to provide more of a service than just selling a solar system. So people pay the appliances over a period of time, over 3 years, but our plug, which we call the plug, which is the system on the roof, and the control unit, which is the battery and all the controlling, the control unit controlling the whole system where you plug your appliances. It doesn't make any sense for a customer to own this. What makes more sense for them is the functionality. Can I light my lights? What happens if the system breaks? What happens if it doesn't work? So we make sure they can come to our shop and do a direct replacement, and we give them one that works. So as soon as you understand the terms of payment and you pay your first monthly payments, we come to install for you. And then after that, you sign a contract with us and you keep paying monthly, and it goes on like that.
I see. Oh, so just to clarify, at the end, they do not own any bit of hardware?
They own most of the appliances, all the appliances, if I may say, and they don't really own the system. I would say they own it over a long time, but this is more, the customers don't need the system. The customers need the system to work. And I think we actually do this even more to protect them. So we give them a long-term warranty, in that over a period of 10 years, we can be able to replace the system if anything fails. So we take that risk because we don't want to. If we come back from the history of solar, there are so many systems out there that you can still find in the market that are lying at people's houses. They don't work because they can't find the person who sold it to them. So our presence is very key to be closer to our customers and make sure that.
I see. So yeah, so I was about to say, so other options that other solar companies have done is that they sort of you buy it back, is it?
Yeah. So what other companies have done? Some of them are selling upfront. You buy upfront. We give you a discount. Others are saying you pay over 3 years, or 1 year, or 2 years, and you own the system. But if I look at it, most of these companies, I see them in the next few years going the same direction as where we're going. Because ownership sounds exciting to a customer, not until they face problems with the system they own. Because it comes from a value of a few $100s to a zero value in an instant. And this is such a big risk for a customer to keep in their house. So ownership does not make any sense. It's the same way you have, at BBOXX we like to call it the on-grid experience of grid. I don't think you care about the cable that comes to your house. I think you care about your plugs, what you plug there. Can you charge your phone? Can you switch on the lights? It doesn't matter if they used an overhead cable or an underground cable or a blue cable or a yellow cable on this size. So for me, that's simply how we see it. We see that we need to give these customers a lifestyle they need, and we need to make sure there's no difference between the customer in the deep northern side of Rwanda in Sekirambo. There's no difference between that customer and someone in Kigali who's on the grid. That's what we try to achieve.
Okay.
Yeah.
And as a rough figure, I mean, how much does it cost for you to sort of, how much does one of these bits of kit cost? So like, whereas before, let's say they were having to buy them, and now you're kind of providing it for free and then getting them to pay back sort of on a monthly amount. What's the rough upfront cost?
Well, yeah. So I think it's a bit more complicated than that. At BBOXX, I would say we are first of all, we are lucky to own the whole value chain. It's one of our advantages is that we own everything from design to manufacturing to distribution. So we have an entity in UK that is in charge of the research and development and design of the systems. And they come to the ground, they see what people need, what it might look like in the next few years, and they design a suitable product. And then we have a team in China that will coordinate this manufacturing and make sure we get the right product on the market. And then we get this product here. So yeah, you are right. It requires a lot of upfront capital because we are deploying these systems without getting enough upfront cash. But our business model is structured to book as too much future revenues or payments over the next few years to come. So yeah, per system it costs a few $100s.
And then how much are people paying each month?
Yeah, so the people will pay on a monthly depending, from where I started, depending on what they have. So they have different sets of appliances and the plug. In Rwanda, they are paying around $5 per month for the plug, and they could add another equivalent of $1.5 to $2 to $3, depending on appliances. And it could get to a total of $20 if they have a TV, including a TV. And this price will drop after 3 years when they have paid all the appliances and go back to a fixed $5 payment per month just for the service and the warranty. Yeah.
And are you finding that, I mean, is $5 a month, is that quite accessible? Are most people able to pay that, or is that quite restrictive?
I would say most people are able to pay this. The biggest challenge in the industry, even when we started with a 3-year payment plan, was actually people understanding the obligation to pay on a monthly, and people understanding the service that they're getting. And this was a big challenge because people were used to coming and buying the system up front. But not until you start showing them some of the problems, which included some of their neighbors having a very big system in their house that some kids have turned into a toy because they can't find the person to repair it. They can't do anything with it, basically, and it's been lying there for years or months. So people started to understand that warranty means something and service means something, that if I pay the system over 3 years, at least I don't have to worry about 3 years. And now we are telling our customers that we brought a new model and you have up to 10 years, which is renewable. And what's even funny is that our old customers on 3 years contracts were like, what about us? What happens after 3 years? And that's even no longer the question. Now the question people are asking us, what happens after 10 years? So this just tells you that people will still need this. And in terms of can they afford it? I think majority can, because every home that we deploy a system, we displace certain expenses on kerosene, candles, phone charging, sending it to which are even way higher than the $5 I am mentioning. So yes, they can afford it.
Okay, so at the moment, how are people? So you say, is it kerosene and stuff? Like, how are people currently getting their electricity?
Yes, so most people without access to electricity and without other off-grid solutions such as ours will use kerosene, will use candles, will use batteries for torches. Most of the homes have cell phones now, and they have to transport it to the nearest trading center, which is a few kilometers away, and have it charged there and pay a charging fee.
Which is roughly
around 200 francs. That's around
20p?
Yeah, like 30 maybe, yeah. So, yeah, it costs them something with the time. If it's 2 phones in the house, that's only to charge that over a month is probably even more than they would spend on the system, which even gives them more. So, yeah, people can afford it, and every time we deploy a system there, what's been interesting is that we've had so many interesting things, because every home that gets a system, like our technicians sometimes force themselves to do even more than we have asked them to do because of the experiences they see at these homes. So people really want it and they can afford it. And actually our biggest problem is what we are trying to address now is that can we have be everywhere and sustain everyone? And that's what we are building our business to be able to do. Yeah.
So do you think when you look over the next sort of 5 or 10 years, are you thinking that you will try and connect more with the poorer customers or the richer customers?
Yes, so our model is based on from the bottom of the pyramid person. We want to structure the model to keep improving it to target everyone, basically. At the moment, I might say there's probably a small percentage of people we cannot attract at the moment. But with a lot happening in the industry, technology improving and prices going down on certain components and batteries and technology coming, the prices will certainly drop and we should be able to attract everyone. And in terms of the richer customers, I'm sure we will improve our wide range of the people we can get to. So we should have in the future a solution for the person at the bottom of the pyramid, but also a solution for someone who wants an alternative way that they want to use, even though they have the grid or something. But if they need this option, we should be able to provide it in the next coming years. It's something we are already testing in some of the markets, like in Congo, because they need big systems. They have big cities without electricity. So we are already testing some systems that should be able to provide such solutions in the future. Yeah.
Okay, so and I mean, obviously, you mentioned that you want sort of BBOXX to be a massive company and to sort of be able to provide this for everyone. But if you were to imagine what the industry might look like in 5 or 10 years' time, do you think there will be one dominant company that does everything, or do you think it'll sort of segment off and certain companies will focus on certain sections of the market?
Well, if I look at it now, there's already so many players coming in, but there's also a few players that have been around for some time, which includes BBOXX, which is one of the advantages. And if I look at it over the next 5 years or so, I think it's the most focused companies that will stay in the market. And you're right, the companies who will try to do a bit of everything, every this and that, will struggle, because the market potential is there for everyone, but also now people are waking up. They want quality, they want the best service, and they want someone who is there, and they want you to be present. And this is very, very key. So I don't think there'll be one company swallowing all the other companies, but I think there'll be companies specializing in different things. Some of them offering maybe the plug, others just appliances. I'm sure there'll be businesses, new businesses around this whole rural electrification that are coming up. And there could be different companies providing different things to this market, because we are already unlocking a market that people did not even know about. And all they were doing was like trading at their local trading center. But we are unlocking a market for everyone in Kigali, around the world, because we can reach millions of people in the next few years that so many companies or products would not have reached.
So are you still at the stage where a lot of your sales are coming from people who have never had this type of system? Or are you getting to a point where you're saying, you know, you might have tried one of these other competitors, you might have owned your own thing, now you should try and...
Yeah. So, like, realistically, the majority of the people have never owned the system. But of course, there's some people that have owned the system. But where we are getting now, you're right, just a few weeks ago, there are some customers who are actually starting to move across from one competitor, and they come to us. They're like, look, we've tried this company X, but we actually think we prefer your offering and we would like to work with you. And we have such cases in the east, in the southern part and the eastern part of the country. Yeah.
Wow. Right. So, so since you've started at BBOXX, what has there been anything that's particularly surprised you, or something that you thought, right, it's definitely going to be this way, and then you look into it a bit more, and suddenly it's...
Yeah. Just I mentioned a little bit about this when we started. It was very, very hard to introduce 3-year payment plans. And this was something completely new for people, especially when you look at the market. People in rural areas, they're used to going to the shop at a trading center and buying something. And that's it. And they go home and use it. And telling someone you can pay this over 3 years, and they're like, how much does this cost me over 3 years? And they actually think they might actually go home and try to save that, but they will never save that until you show them what it could displace and how they can actually be able to finance it on a monthly after saving some of their money. So what's been more surprising is that we've come from that, and there's questions of like, what happens after 10 years? And people are happy to pay even for 10 years or even more because they now want the service. And for me, it's very surprising now to get a question like, what happens after 10 years when you tell a customer? When before all they cared about, they're like, I don't want this, I want the system, I don't want to see you guys again. But now it's changed, and people are even more worried about the long term. Even if you said 50 years, they'll say like, what happens after 50 years? So you can see that actually we need to build a model based on sustainability. And people need to know that you will exist. If they know that you won't exist in 3 years, 3 years is not enough guarantee to tell people that you'll be here for 3 years. So for me, that's one of the surprises. We've had also a few things. What's been even more interesting for me, like over the past 2.5 years, when we were starting, and we've managed to build a team of over 150 staff in just a very short period of time. But what's been very interesting is when these people understand what we are trying to do and the dream of the vision of the company, and also, even though we are into business, the impact we leave in people's homes. We used to expect our technician to do an average 4 actions a day. If you install 4 people or 5 people max per day, you've done very well. And we had one case where a technician did 12 in one single day, and that was unbelievable. And he had to wake up at 5 a.m. and go back home at 9 p.m. And this is because of the excitement, like enjoying going to people's homes and leaving them very happy and seeing how people need us and they expect to have this thing which we have in our stores, and he just can't wait to go and put it on people's roofs. So there's a bit of surprises in the business perspective, but there's also some interesting things on the impact side, how we are impacting people's lives, which is very interesting.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Cool. So we'll just have a few more questions. That's all right. So at the moment it's Rwanda. I mean, are there other countries? Is the eventual goal like world domination, or like what's your next sort of places to go?
Yeah. Personally, I'll speak for Rwanda. We want to dominate in Rwanda and be the leaders in the market, which I think we are capable of doing in a very short period of time. At the moment, we have similar operations in Kenya, and these are all wholly owned companies by BBOXX. But the end goal is to be able to replicate the models that we have been practicing here and improving. We improve every day. That's why I mentioned we've gone to a level of doing what took us 2 years to do it in 1 or 2 months max. So the end goal is to be able to replicate this model across the world, and the vision is to be the leading company in emerging markets and to be able to provide this to address the 1.2 billion people without access to electricity. Yeah.
You said that you sort of sell appliances to people. What are the most popular appliances that people want?
So some of our appliances, of course, they include lights. Well, those are the basic ones, and they include. We have some magnetic torches. This is like a portable light that you can stick on a wall wherever you are on a magnetic pole and do your work. When you want to move, you take it away. And we have radios. Our customers like to listen to the radio. They listen to the radio all the time. Even when they're in their gardens, the radio is somewhere there. Even when they're riding a bicycle, they have a radio on the bicycle. So we have a radio, and it's. I would say the radio is the most common one of all. But also we have a TV, and we see that big percentage of our customers want to own a TV, and they don't want their kids, especially if the neighbor has one, and their kids every evening they're at the neighbor's house. Like, I want to have a TV in my own house, and they can be able to watch news, entertainment, and everything. So we are introducing this month. We are introducing smartphones, and we are also will also be introducing very soon shavers, and yeah, this is quite interesting.
Cool. And so, Kri, what do you think is the biggest challenge that you've got ahead for the next sort of 1 to 2 years?
Yeah, the biggest challenge, I think for us and probably most of the other players is the financing. This is a growing industry, and I think it's not been straightforward raising finances to scale up to this level. But we are at a level where we are now in position to even get more money and do a lot, much more better than we have been able to do. So especially the local financing industry in Rwanda, they're just starting to have a look at this industry, which is a bit surprising because we've raised foreign currency without complications because people understand that this is actually something serious. And I think the biggest challenge over the next few months or few years is to involve local banks in countries where we operate to finance in such ventures, because this is a very, very profitable business and solves people's lives in an affordable way, which they would have wanted to spend either way. So the biggest one will be financing, because the more money you can raise up front, the more capital you can raise, even the more people you would get to, and the company becomes even more profitable because you're booking more revenues to come in the coming months. Yeah.
Great stuff. Cool. Well, Justus, thank you so much for that. If people want to sort of follow the journey of BBOXX or yourself, is there any way that they can do that?
Yeah. So we are on Twitter, we are on Facebook. You can search BBOXX. We are on Twitter, we are BBOXX_Rwanda, and we have BBOXX HQ, which is our Twitter handle for our holding company. And we are on Facebook, BBOXX Rwanda, and also BBOXX for the same. If you are in Rwanda, we have a toll-free line for our customer, which is 1044. It's a short code, so you call 1044, and we'll pick you up and help you with anything you need.
Great. Cool. Well, Justus, thanks once again.
Thank you very much.
Cheers. Before we head, just a quick moment to say thank you for listening. Starting a podcast is tough, and so I appreciate you making it through to the end. One thing that would be fantastic is, if you're enjoying it, to leave a review on iTunes. Apparently, good stuff happens when you do. Head to samfloy.com/review and you can see the link. It should only take a minute or so. Otherwise, have a great week and speak to you soon.